I will start with uh, having both of you explain to me what is a high-performing team? What does that look like?
Can I start? Because I
Yes.
heard this great definition of a high performing team from someone who did SEAL training. And he said a high performing team is a team that still performs when everything around it has gone to hell in a handbasket. So if you can perform when you don't have management support, and you can perform when you don't have environmental support, and you can perform when you don't have ideal circumstances, and you still perform, that means you actually have a high performing team.
What do you think,
Rajesh, you
Rajesh?
can give the appropriate definition.
No, I am actually thinking in much simpler terms where I grew up in Sri Lanka and um, I started playing rugby. I'm not very big, so like I've met Nechama. Like, I'm not your typical rugby player, but I started playing rugby as a kid, and my school happened to be one of the sort of better schools when it came to rugby in the Sri Lankan context, which is not the same as playing with the New Zealand All Blacks or something like this. But in the 13 and under national tournament, the first year that I played, our team um, was favored to win because we had a prop forward. It's like this huge guy who, some kids mature early, and this person, he was like weighed as 3 times as much as anybody else, the other 13-year-olds. And we just expected to win because nobody could stop him. Except in the finals, we ran into this team where they had planned for this and actually had been tackling the 15-year-olds in their school, and they stopped our prop. And the rest of the team hadn't practiced enough in a way that played to our, we had actually a really strong team. We just got over reliant on this one star, and we just hadn't practiced to actually play to our strengths, and it was just a very disconnected group that now had to adjust to a world that changed, and we just failed. The next year we lost the big guy, but most of us came back, and actually, we really, there were no superstars,
Mhm.
and we'd learned the lesson the hard way of like each person has a role to play, and if we can kind of figure this out the right way, we could play to our strengths and adapt to any team or any strategy, and arrive at a sort of playbook or on the spot on the field because we trusted each other. We knew what the other teammates could bring. We knew when to count on them. We could count they were going to be right there behind you when you needed to pass as you were getting tackled. And we actually won the nationals that second year when
Wow.
we weren't supposed to win. 'Cause, and this is a long-winded way of saying, high performing team to me is sort of doesn't necessarily need to be a team of stars to be a star team. I know that's a cliche, but it's a team that actually understands the strengths of the individuals, has enough trust to sort of lean on each other, and enough humility to sort of take the failures and the successes together without trying to point fingers or take credit.
That's a great analogy.